Coming up, the story of a young gun training for the challenge of a lifetime.
Been practicing so long. I think we're all ready for game day on Sunday.
And his family back home.
He's got a dangerous job.
Connie Chung Tonight returns in a moment.
I'm Connie Chung. Tonight, to combat terror, the government is launching a new ad campaign. Will it work?
Homeland insecurity.
Fear is the terrorist's most effective weapon. Today, America's families declare, we will not be afraid, and we will be ready.
Americans are urged not to be afraid, but to be ready.
Having these plans in place is just sort of common sense.
But will a media blitz really ease a nation in high anxiety? The first person tried in connection with the 9/11 attacks, an accessory to 3,000 murders, gets 15 years from a German court. For the second straight day, police search the home of Scott and Lacey Peterson. Are they any closer to cracking the case? His lifelong dream.
I always wanted to fly F-14s in the Navy.
Now a reality.
As soon as you go over the Iraqi border, it seems your senses are tweaked a little bit.
Tonight, a U.S. Top Gun, ready to fight in the skies over Iraq, shares his goals.
As we mentioned earlier, the U.S. is trying to speed up the world's timetable on Iraq, pushing for a decision from Turkey this week on housing U.S. troops there, and pushing by next week for a new UN resolution on Iraq. The administration says Iraq has weeks, not months, to disarm. Tonight, we begin CNN's series on American warriors. Of the 40,000 U.S. troops in the seas around Iraq, many are fighter pilots. One of them, 28-year-old Marine Captain Chris Collins, has been waiting 6 years for this moment, his first overseas mission. But he's been preparing for it all his life. Captain Chris Collins is a Top Gun. Make no mistake, he could have been something else, but this is what he loves.
All my friends back at home make quite a bit more money than I do. There's a lot of stockbrokers out there, but there's not a whole lot of F-18 pilots.
As he was growing up in a middle-class Connecticut neighborhood, all he could talk about was flying.
I always wanted to fly F-14s in the Navy since I was a youngin', and I guess watching Top Gun, I always thought that'd be a pretty cool thing to do.
Collins now flies a $35 million fighter bomber, the F-18 Hornet, right off the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Beautiful day in the Persian Gulf. Gonna go off for a 45-minute cycle.
His job? Trolling the no-fly zone over Iraq.
First time I flew over Iraq, it was very barren, and I just equated it to being like Yuma, Arizona, but the entire country was like that.
But just flying over Iraq is vastly different from dropping bombs in an air attack. In a surprising moment of candor, Collins reveals how many pilots feel about war.
Deep down inside, probably every pilot, whether they tell you you're not, probably wants it to happen, sort of. We've been practicing so long. I think we're all ready for game day on Sunday.
So you can prepare the dinner tomorrow for me?
Chris is the only son of Barbara and Jack Collins, but you won't hear them fret about it. For luck, Barbara has vowed to wear a Marine and American flag pin until Chris comes home.
I worry, but I believe that he's highly trained, and he'll be okay.
He's got a dangerous job, but I don't worry about him. I really don't. He seems in great spirits, and he only regrets when they're not flying.
The danger that he's in every day, every time he goes up in the air, it scares me.
Chris's younger sister, Shannon.
When we were little, he was always, doing model airplanes, and I can't even remember Chris without thinking of him as wanting to be a pilot.
Fortunately for Chris, his grandparents lived in Florida, right across the street from an Air Force base.
Chris was just fascinated. He'd want to go there every day just to watch those jets. He just would film the jets for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
At only 12, he started learning how to fly, paying for pilot lessons with money from babysitting and mowing lawns. This boy was determined to earn solo privileges by his 16th birthday. And he did, even before he got his driver's license. But during his solo test, his mom's heart skipped a beat, for a good reason.
As he was coming in for one of his landings, there was a small passenger plane coming into Bridgeport, and Christopher was on his approach, and we could see him, and we had a radio listening, and all of a sudden, all we could hear was, abort your landing. And he pulled up, and he was fine, but I wasn't.
Collins is made of the right stuff. Just ask him. He'll tell you.
Becoming a carrier pilot, you don't get out here because you're an average pilot. The guys who make it set goals.
For him, flights have become almost routine.
First thing you're going to hear out of me is going to be Rage 1 speed angels left, Rage 2 speed angels on the right.
He knows what he's doing.
I'm going to execute my best brake turn. You know what? I need to find out where the hell my jet is. I don't see it back there.
Collins is by no means foolish. He knows real war is not a game. Before taking off, he strips himself of his identifiable patches.
Why do you take off patches?
In case I get shot down, no one will know who I am.
When in the air, he's poised for the worst.
As soon as you go over the Iraqi border, you know, it seems your senses are tweaked a little bit.
And as he heads back after a mission, the danger isn't over. How do they do it? Land on the deck of an aircraft carrier they can barely see.
I usually have this impending fear of death every time at night. The boat looks much, much smaller at night than it does during the day. You don't have the visual cues of, you know, the deck coming up at you.
For Captain Chris Collins, no more model airplanes, no more dry runs. This is the main event.
We've been training for the past 2 years for this, and then if we do have to go in and with the conflict with Iraq, the way we go about things will change slightly, but everyone's pretty well prepared to do to shift to that new mindset.
As part of our Warriors series, we'll be following Captain Collins and his family, and we'll bring you updates on them over the next months as the crisis with Iraq continues. Still ahead.